Night. The little Duchess hoped that the cookies she baked pleased her father. The maid said there was nothing to worry about. After all, the lady personally baked it. The day was very busy and Lenny looked unsurpassed today. But now it's time to go to bed. If the mistress needs anything, she can ring the bell. It's a magic item, all the servants can hear it. The bracelet on the servant's hands makes a ringing sound. It's so unusual, but the device is also very expensive. Lenny has already seen children playing with similar things. In a previous life, Roop said that the question he came to the Duke with was about Leonier's birth. Filio frowned. Aren't they done with this topic yet? The advisor insisted that they should investigate everything thoroughly. He asked the Duke not to be offended by his words. He's even willing to put his life on the line. Roop thinks there might be a connection between Lady Leonier and Lady Regina. But Regina is dead, Filio noticed. The fact is that the lady's body was never found. If Lady Regina and her lover escape the worst of the end and Lady Lenny is their daughter, any rumors that the girl is an illegitimate child can be easily eliminated in the duchy. Interesting, the Duke said. To be honest, he was also thinking of investigating Leonier's past. But Roop's research convinced Filio that it was not worth it. They met Leonier at the shelter. The counselor was outraged, because this is just another reason to understand who her parents are. And what will this knowledge give? He's going to tell the girl, hey, we know who your parents are, but are they dead? What if she really is Regina's daughter? This is clearly not good for the child. The daughter of a woman who ran away with the chosen one, whom the family did not approve of. The illegitimate child of the most powerful man in the empire, the Lord of the North, Duke Borodi. If Filio had chosen from this, he would definitely have decided that the second option was more promising. It seems that Roop made a mistake, but the Duke said that the advisor had thought everything through in advance. Regina's daughter? He did not think that such a thing was possible. He asked the counselor, does the girl look like Regina? To be honest, he replied no. It will not be difficult to confirm her pedigree. When they first met at the orphanage, Filio was confronted by a child whose black eyes sparkled brighter than the stars. At that time, he thought it was an uncontrolled flow of mana, but in fact he was wrong. It was nothing more than direct proof that she was Borodi. The next day, at breakfast, the Duke told his daughter that they should try out her bouncy idea. To hang people on the edge of a cliff on springy ropes. Because of the weather, they can't do it sooner, because in such weather, the ice knights may suffer when bringing her idea to life. It's worth hanging those guests tomorrow. The maid draped a cape over Lenny's shoulders. The girl said she looked like Superman in it. Filio didn't get the joke. The girl said that Superman wears underpants over his clothes. The Duke remembered how she called him a pervert, but she was no better. Daughter said that clothes don't matter to Superman. The body, broad shoulders, and muscles are important. He's both adorable and strong. They jumped up and down on the run. Filio warned her that she might break her nose if she continued to run around like that. A book was brought for Lenny. The book was called A Meaningless Life. Filio offered her fairy tales, but her daughter replied that only kids read them. She found them in the Duke's library, because he said she could take whatever she wanted. Lenny chose this book because of the interesting title. But she added, judging by her experience, there really is no point in life. She seems to have realized the harsh reality very quickly. Apparently, life in the orphanage was hard. The Duke asked if the daughter would like to see her real parents at least once in her life. But she doesn't even know who they are and doesn't remember anything except living in an orphanage. The only parent for her at the moment is Filio. He realized that he didn't know anything about her real parents. She doesn't have any feelings for people she doesn't even remember. She was sad that she would never find out about her origins and would not meet the people who brought her into the world. Does she need to try to remember something? The Duke said that there was nothing wrong with her forgetting everything. And at least she remembers that the Duke is her family. He picked her up in his arms. She seems to have forgotten, since she doesn't call him dad. But she's just not used to it. And this excuse is outdated. She pouted, and Filio smiled. He asked her to look into her eyes. He looked at her with that murderous look, and she tried not to close her eyes until the last moment. And it seems she lost in the staring contest. The Duke ordered everyone out and the servants immediately left. He told Lenny that he didn't like to beat around the bush and would be honest with her. I think she's his niece. And what will he order you to do after such a revelation? She's an ordinary orphan. He picked her up from the orphanage himself. Filio said that Lenny definitely has traits that are unique to the Borody family. It would seem that this is just a coincidence. But black hair is a generic feature of Borody. The fearless child who boldly stood in the way of the Duke deliberately activated his fangs. The glint in her eyes at that moment. He thought it was a normal flow of mana. For protection, young wizards often release mana. They do it on a subconscious level for protection, but this was not the case. Filio asked what fangs meant. Well, daughter said, this is when your eyes change color and bloodlust begins to emanate from you. She unknowingly used her ability on the day they met. It happened because of the resonance of their powers. Then the glow just now, it was a response. And she wasn't scared. People with the lion's fang ability resonate when using the force. That means she's the real Borody. Then who is her mother? The Duke's cousin. She was the most annoying person in the world. The Berea of the Black Beast. That was the name of the novel she liked to read in her previous life. The Lord of the North, Duke Borody, and his constant companion, Countess Berea Urbanu. This story is about their love. A work that ridiculed well-known cliches, which made it look more like a comedy. But when she woke up, she realized that she had not become a noblewoman as in the mawkish fantasy novels. She's an orphan. One day at the orphanage, she saw a carriage with the coat of arms of a black lion. She realized that this world was inside her favorite story. So she decided to take a chance. Working as a maid in the Duke's castle would be much better than rotting in an orphanage. But she never imagined that it would turn out like this. She doesn't remember the Duke having a niece in the original novel. She was running down the hallway when Kara suddenly stopped her. You shouldn't run so fast, because you can fall, the woman said. Filio had told her that the girl could get the details from Kara. Lenny locked herself in a room with the servants. She wanted to ask a personal question. The Duke told his daughter about the woman who gave the girl life. What? He said that her mother was his cousin. He justified this by saying that the girl has the ability to fang the beast. He also told her that mom had them too. Kara's eyes watered. It seems that Mrs. Regina really died. They sat down at the table. Did the Duke hate the girl's mother? No, that's not the point. Mrs. Regina was a person of small mind. She was beautiful and very kind. She had all the features of a romantic nature and tried to bring sincerity into the world. Regina loved the Duke very much. She always tried to get closer to Duke Filio. Perhaps it was because they were the only children in their families. She had really harmless intentions. Based on Leonier's experience in another world, there are no people more annoying than naive idealists. The reason Regina wasn't in the novel was most likely because Filio wasn't paying attention to her. He probably thought of his cousin as an annoying fly. I even feel sorry for this woman, but what happened to her? She ran away. Lady Regina fell in love with a knight-errant. Naturally, the family was against such a relationship. The lady decided to leave her family and ran away with the man she loved. Wish Lenny hadn't asked. Kara asked if Lenny ever wanted to see her mom. The girl thanked the staff. One winter evening by the fireplace, Filio asked Lenny if she was not at all interested in who her parents were. Should she be worried about people she can't even remember? It's better not to think about the past, but focus on the future. Filio stroked the girl's head. From what she says, She looks more like Filio than Regina. Well, that's good, so she's not completely stupid. Lenny asked if she could see the orphans and Miss Coney. The father said that they had been moved to a shelter on the territory of Borodi, and he'll take her there when the weather improves. Hooray, he promised her. But doesn't he have other important things to do? It's like he's always messing around. Filio snorted and said to take care of yourself, otherwise he eats like a pig. They even put on an apron. But it's part of the image, the style. She was also covered in crumbs when she ate snacks. The Duke can eat without getting sloppy, even if some of his teeth are knocked out. The girl asked if it was really so important for him to win the fight every time. He replied to her just to learn from him. Anyway, he'll have to leave the estate soon. The season when monsters are most active is coming soon. There are so many reptiles living on the territory of Borodi that their lands are called the lair of monsters. When the snowstorm stops, he will lead a campaign to reduce the number of monsters. She looked at her father. He turned her away and took her hair in his hands to do her hair. The mission will end faster if it is sunny. But if the hurricane intensifies, it will complicate the situation. Weather affects people more than monsters. He would take her with him one day. What for? After all, she is his successor. This is the main reason for her adoption. When will he stop making impulsive decisions?
Hey!
When will he get married? It seems that being her parent is more interesting to him than looking for a wife. It's all because of his connection to Roop. He said he would take away all her favorite treats if she said something like that again. Ouch. It's a joke. One of the maids brought sweets. Come to think of it, she even treats the servants with respect, but she doesn't even think to speak politely to Filio. Why would she be nice to him? It's just annoying. Let my daughter work on correcting this habit, he added. Lenny said that time would fix everything. But her father interrupted her. Money will fix everything. The daughter and the maids fell into a stupor. From now on, the Duke said, all the servants are dismissed. Do some servants dare irrevocably accept respectful treatment from a member of the Borodi family? As the head of this house, he cannot turn a blind eye to the violation of discipline among the employees. Even if he cut off their ears, it wouldn't be enough. So because of his great favor, he will punish them with just a dismissal. Have all the servants pack their personal belongings immediately and gather in the hall. Okay, I get it. That's what the little Duchess said. She will stop addressing them formally. Threaten a child with the dismissal of staff? He is less human than the monsters he hunts. Their eyes collided again. You know, Filio said, there's no problem that can't be solved with money. She plopped down on the couch. He noticed that she was completely lazy. The Duke will introduce the girl to the knights before they go on a raid. But the snowstorm hasn't stopped yet. And he told her to gain some weight himself. She seems to have excuses for all occasions. He began to dress her. But he's lying on the couch all the time. It's decided, they're coming. Lenny thought about the fact that her father had a beautiful face, but a charming aura. A typical main character, albeit with a bad temper. She asked if he would spare her from his whim in the future. Who does she take him for? Lenny Filio said, you are my daughter. He will be responsible for her for the rest of his life. And she doesn't like fathers who tease children. Suddenly, what's on the ceiling? It is said that one of the ancestors ordered the painting to be engraved there. Somehow it doesn't feel right. The picture looks like an illustration from nightmares. And why is the dome so high? It turns out that it was problematic to fix the collapsed ceiling every time someone releases a combat aura. The combat aura is the strength gained by knights as a result of hard training. Whereas a mage's mana is an innate spiritual ability. Aura is an acquired physical ability. Nevertheless, perseverance and constant training are needed to develop such a skill. There are 3 knights in their order who can release an aura. Does Filio also know how to use this aura? He is something more powerful. Why bother? A beast's fang? Such an annoying look, however, as always. The Duke said that she also has this ability and needs to learn how to use it. The girl growled and said she would bite him first, right on his chest. And why is his daughter so obsessed with human bulges? Don't let him make her look like a pervert. She just loves toned muscles. Muscular beauties. Muscles.